Hey everyone, this is Shawn Sandridge, and I am back for the final review of the new Celebrity Apprentice. It is season 15, episode 7. I don't have time for anyone's ego except my own. So the upside is that this finale was only an hour long. However, I wanted to do this justice because I just literally finished watching the season finale, and I have to tell you, this was a great finale. It was nail-biting, and it had me guessing all the way to the end of who was the new Celebrity Apprentice and the first Celebrity Apprentice winner for Governor Schwarzenegger. So the good news is that I was thoroughly pleased. So let's talk about it. So as you know, I did not review last episode. It got too long and it didn't even matter. The whole point of last week's episode is that Burke got eliminated, and so now we are down to the two finalists, which is Boy George and Matt Iseman. And for those of you who do not remember who Matt Iseman is, he is the host for American Ninja Warrior for that show. So full of energy, very pumped, and by profession, he is a physician. So their final task is to do a promotion and pitch for Carnival Cruises. Now, Again, I did not go into last week's episode, but Carnival Cruises has 4 different types of cruises for the cruising experience. So you can go from a family-friendly type cruise all the way to the high-end, nothing but pampered. Every cruiser has their own person assigned to them. So it can be everything from family to party to high-end pampered luxury. So the CEO wanted them to do a pitch and produce a campaign, host a party for Carnival Cruise, as well as put on a variety show. They're going to be judged on creativity and the amount of money that they are going to raise for their charity. So let's just talk about both finalists. So as you know, Boy George is a pop icon, and throughout this whole season, he has really played to his strength. He first started with just when it was just male and female, and then they have mixed it up along the ways. And Boy George felt like he wasn't going to make it to the end because he really felt like he wasn't a business person, that he was really a creative person, an artist, and kind of put himself in a box that he's an artist. He's a creative person. He doesn't have a business sense. But as he's gone through the Celebrity Apprentice, he's realized that he is a business person. And truth be told, he's really played this game very smart. He has really worked on playing up to his strengths and playing down to things that he's weak in. Now, he didn't have a smooth sailing, but the thing about it is that he was always a team player, and he always got in where he fit in. And even though he got knocked down on a task, he was able to pick himself up and kind of be a comeback kid. Now, Matt Iseman is the least known celebrity of all the celebrities. However, he was a standout contestant. He's a doctor by profession, and he's charismatic. He's extremely robust and passionate, and you can't help but to get part of his energy. His energy is very infectious, and he is undeniably the underdog of this show. So Matt and Boy George were given helpers, which were the eliminated contestants, coming back to be part of their team. So for George, he had Carson, Layla, and Portia. And Matt, he had Carney, Kyle, and Carrie. Now, for George, it was almost like getting the gang back. He was thoroughly pleased who was going to be on his team. George and Carson, anytime they've been together, they have this creative synchronicity that is unstoppable. And of course, Portia is a creative person, and it was just going to be a good team. And there was a part in there where George decided that he was going to do a couple of songs for the Carnival Cruise, part of the variety show. And they had a keyboardist. And the keyboardist was, let's just say, not collaborating with George. And George was getting annoyed. Plus, there's deadlines to this. And so as George telling him what he wanted to have done, the keyboardist was kind of correcting him. He's like, I know what I want. I wrote the song. I know how I want it done. So he got frustrated with the keyboardist and he fired him. And so behind closed doors, he told the producers, we need a new person. So they ended up getting someone who he's collaborated with before, and it went well. So that was a little bit of a kink, but George handled it as an Englishman would with a lot of grace. And they went on. And of course they had to go and get different photos and get this ad campaign together. Now with Matt was slow to get things started. He felt like he wasn't creative enough. He knew that he had Carson and George to compete with, and that he knew that with the competition that they were going to nail being creative. And so he thought that he was a little too traditional, because the whole part of the pitch to Carnival Cruise and what the CEO wanted was that cruising it's not your grandma's cruising. He wanted them to create a campaign that would let people know, debunk the myths about cruising. And so he really felt like he was being too traditional, and he didn't think that he was going to nail the creative part. However, he got a great tagline, and his tagline was, one destination takes you everywhere. And what he wanted to do was give you a visceral journey of all the different types of cruises, so that you could really emotionally buy into it. Is everybody's cruise. It can be whatever you want it to be. So once that happened, everything kind of fell into place for the team. And so then it was on to the fundraising. So, of course, George, just to reiterate, George's foundation is Save Kids Worldwide, and that is to help with preventative accidents and campaigning on that. And Matt's charity is the Arthritis Foundation. By the way, Tyra was the guest consultant on this final task. Now, the fundraising was going to be very big, because that was one of the things that they were going to be judged on. Now, they were both gentlemen, wished each other good luck, and there's the fundraising. They had a lot of money coming in. So when they're doing the fundraising, Matt is loud and just boisterous and robust, and George is like, I'm an Englishman, I'm like, let's have tea. And he was far more subdued, but the money was coming in, and money was coming in. So they were going to do the variety show and the guests, and who were they going to have part of the variety show. So for Matt, since Carney Wilson is on the team, he ended up having Wilson Phillips there as part of the variety. And then actually George actually had Caitlyn Jenner came through, and she was going to be his top celebrity, and she brought a check for $90,000, which he was very, very pleased on that. And it just so happened that for him, he felt like this whole thing was full circle, because the day of the task that they had to perform was actually his anniversary of being 8 years sober. And so he felt like 8 years ago, he was in such a different place, and here he is now, and like everything has come full circle. And so it was really touching, because Caitlyn Jenner actually congratulated him on his 8th anniversary of being sober. And so there was a lot of emotion for him, not only the pressure of doing well, and hopefully capturing being the new celebrity apprentice, but also really reflecting on 8 years of his journey of what he's gone through and where he's at now. So that was really nice. So um what Matt did on his part, because he went first, his team went first. What Matt did was he used his time, because he was going to do some comedy, but he decided that he was going to just really just talk about his story of how, why he's part of Celebrity Apprentice, why he's raising the money. And he told his personal story, how he personally suffers from rheumatoid arthritis and his journey. And so it was funny too, because in the beginning he started making these really great impersonations of Arnold Schwarzenegger. He was really, really good at it. And then of course he went and told his personal story. And then Wilson Phillips performed, and it was great. And of course Matt is an amazing pitch man, so it was just a no-brainer for him to be the front man for the whole journey of the campaign. And so George started, his team came up, and so he had Carson be the pitch man, and he was acting as the cruise director, taking you through. Now, I will say this, when they had the celebrity, in the beginning, they had the red carpet, and of course, you have people coming through taking pictures, and then the whole cast of the Celebrity Apprentice, as far as the judges, Governor Schwarzenegger, his nephew, and the Tyra came through, and then the COO and the executives, the presidents of Carnival Corporation came through. And the first thing Matt did was grab them and give them a passport, which is what you would have when you would go on a cruise. You would probably have a passport, and took them through each stall of their set, because they had a space. And what Matt did was take you through a visceral journey of what you could experience on a cruise. So you could be there getting a massage, you could be playing poker, you could be holding baby kangaroos and taking pictures with the pelican, or a cockatoo, or some bird, I can't remember, parrot, some bird. So that's what he did. And he felt like I wanted to grab them because George didn't take that opportunity. So he felt like, you know, it's all, I'm going to leave nothing unturned. So that was a real great point for Matt. George's space was very spa-like, had a lot of great ambiance, very relaxing, was beautiful, and wanted to take you through that type of a journey of what it would be like on a cruise. So wanted to get that covered. So on George's team, of course, he had Carson as the pitch man, and then George started out with the entertainment. He did 2 brand new songs that he wrote for the Carnival cruise, and there were dancers there. They were ballroom dancers dancing to his music. So they were 2 original songs made specifically for the campaign, which I thought were great. And then he had Natasha Bedingfield, and she sang her popular song Take Me Away, and then he came back and he sang Karma Chameleon, and then the whole room was dancing. Now, I have to say, for both teams were hands down top of the line. They did an amazing job. And I have to say, it was very difficult to see who did it best, because Matt did a great job, had a great lineup. George did a job, had a great lineup. They were different, but neither one of them disappointed. I would have gone to either one of them. I would have been sold to go to either one of the crews based on their campaign. And it was really, out of all the ones that I have been reviewing, this task and the way they performed, I had no idea who did it best, who did it better. It was even. This was a nail-biting one because I didn't know who was going to get it. I knew who I wanted to win, but I didn't know who was going to get it. So now we're in the boardroom. So the thing about Matt was that Matt had not worked with anybody that was on his team. He had never worked with any of the eliminated celebrities before. And when the governor asked him what was his impression of his teammates, he said that, I had never worked with them before, but I was very impressed. They supported me, and I was pleased and very, very grateful. He knew that he was the underdog, and he knew that fundraising was going to be his weak point. So he said what he did is he didn't have a Rolodex. And so what he did is he relied on his foundation, and he figured, I don't know a lot of celebrities and I don't know a lot of people that could contribute, but there are 50 million people who suffer from arthritis. So he went to his foundation and pretty much asked the millions of people who suffer from arthritis if they would be willing to donate anything that they could to the charity. And I thought, man, that is absolutely clever. Absolutely clever. I mean, you could get a couple of people, celebrities, to donate a good amount of money, but you get 50 million people, and if you get 10% of them to donate, you're going to do really well. So I thought that was good, because he says, I'm not alone in this. So I thought that was great. And his teammates felt that he was gracious, humble, very smart, and maybe because of the physician in him, he was very calm under pressure. And he's a nice guy. I have to say, with both contestants, they were both nice guys, like generally nice people. So that was really great to see both of them be finalists. So with George, with his team, he said he let everyone play to their strengths. He thought that they thought that he was a strong project manager, creative, and that he knew his vision. He knew what he wanted, and he wasn't going to let anyone or anything stand in his way, and that they were more than committed to support his vision. So dang it, it's such a close, I have no idea at this point who is going to be the new Celebrity Apprentice. So now it goes down to the executives. What do they think? So for George, they were very impressed. The party was on point. The photos were phenomenal. They loved the variety show. It stayed on emoting, cruising, and the performances were great. So that is what the executives said about George. They had nothing bad to say. For Matt performing was super. He had super energy, and it was super fun. They loved the party and the animals, and they loved the passport. They thought the passport added a special touch, which I thought as well. And that they thought that he stayed on the theme of cruising and were pleased. Had nothing bad to say about Matt and his team. So here we are. So for George, it came down now to the fundraising. We've already done the creativity, now the fundraising. So for Boy George, he raised $445,925. Very impressive. For Matt raised $573,329. An amazing, amazing amount. By far, Matt being the underdog, as far as the least known celebrity, raised more than the last fundraising. So everybody was just overwhelmed. I don't know what the other celebrities have done in the past for fundraising, but that was, that was impressive. Over $500,000. So the helpers were sent out of the boardroom, and it's just Matt and Boy George. So, of course, the governor asked, why should you be the Celebrity Apprentice? So Matt said that he was consistent, that he works, that he wasn't afraid to take risks, he wasn't afraid to fail, and he set himself impossible goals and exceeded it. And then George, he said that, I never really thought of myself being a business person, but I am a business person. And that there were things that he had to pull out of himself in order to get to where he was at. He said he's very pleased with where he's at, his performance, and that even though no matter what, he feels like he's already won, especially with the amount of money that he's raised for his charity. Oh! So, who do you think won? Who do you think won? The new Celebrity Apprentice is Matt. Matt won. Matt won. Bravo, Matt. Bravo, Matt. Matt is the new Celebrity Apprentice. The new Celebrity Apprentice under Governor Schwarzenegger. Matt did an amazing, amazing job. Although I wanted my boy George to win, undeniably, Matt played a consistent game. He kicked butt, task after task after task. And even though it's not built on this particular task, hands down, Matt, being an underdog on so many ways and pulling it out at the end was quite impressive. And I would have been pleased if Boy George had won. I would have been thrilled and over the moon. But I can't say that I am disappointed that Matt won. He played a superb game throughout the whole season. And again, what also makes it great is that he's a nice guy. He's a likable guy, a charismatic guy, a guy with an infectious personality. And if anybody deserved to win, Matt definitely did. So I want to say thank you for hanging in there, because these reviews were rough, 2-hour episodes. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for hanging out for these reviews. Take care of yourself and each other, and I'll see you hopefully next season. Bye.